Hello, everyone. Should we wait for more people?
Hello. Sure, we can wait.
Okay. But it's year end, so do you think more people will be joining? Should we start, Niels? Or do you think we should wait?
Sure, we can start.
Okay, so yeah, we can start with Marco with the DevOps updates.
Yeah, sure. Let me quickly grab the screen. I just want to talk about this one ticket here we merged today. It's about an update to the Docker Compose version. Until now, we ran version 1 dot something, which will be deprecated in spring next year. And with this ticket, we upgrade the version to the current version 2. This has, like, the basic thing, what happens, they included Docker Compose to the Docker engine, which meant which means you can now install it via apt and not do a workaround anymore. The command is a little bit different. Until now, it was docker-compose, and this has now been changed to Docker space compose. And the naming scheme of the images is a little bit different. We try to mitigate this naming scheme to be, for the moment, internal only, which means as soon as we upload or publish the Docker images to the Artifactory, this should remain as is at the moment. And we looked at NCI. This is the push I just talked about. The sudo Python test fails due to flakiness. You can see the next one being green here already. And the CWF intake test, there was a small bug in it. This has been fixed, and the fixed PR is not showing up on the CI dashboard here yet, because it has just been merged quite recently. Any questions to this topic? We will keep an eye on the CI and the Docker images in the next days, but I hope this should be it now. And while I'm showing you the CI dashboard, it now features the containerized intake test, which means it's the LT integration tests based on a containerized HW. So this is then also featured here to be more visible in this deployment option. And if there are no more questions, I guess that's it from me.
Not a question, just a small addition, a small FYI. The containerized integration tests are currently a subset of the regular integration tests. The reason is that a couple of tests are not working with the containerized environment, but this is still under investigation.
Yeah, that's true. We modified a little bit the definitions file to separate between containerized and non-containerized. Okay, if there are no more questions, then I would stop my screen share. And I guess I don't have the plan here, but I guess Niels, you would be next.
Yes.
I can take over the screen. So just a small and hopefully last update for the Artifactory switch. There were no major problems reported in the Slack, and we didn't see any major problems in CI. One issue is still open, and this is a problem that sometimes if you try to install something from the Linux Foundation Artifactory, you get a 403 forbidden. After some investigation, it turns out that this happens on systems with a very low bandwidth. For example, I have a 10 Mbit connection currently, and they can reproduce this regularly. There's nothing from our side we can do. As you know, the Artifactory is managed by the Linux Foundation, and the technical side is actually managed by JFrog itself. So JFrog was contacted about this issue with a way to reproduce it, and hopefully there will be some movement and this last issue will vanish as well. So Bazel update. Most of the people who work on Bazel are located in Germany, so a lot of people there currently are in the
end of year holiday.
So they end of year holidays. Thank you very much. So there was not happen a lot. One big thing that has changed now is that we don't use the remote caches anymore. They are located on AWS. And as you know, AWS will be not be usable anymore end of the year. So this was replaced by regularly pre-built Docker images, and this is a caching mechanism where we noticed no downside regarding time compared to the remote caches. The remote caches itself are still running on AWS only because there might be some branches that are not rebased yet, but I'm monitoring this, and currently no costs are produced. So we will shut this completely down starting next year at the beginning. Any questions for these two parts?
So Niels, actually on the Artifactory suites problem 403 forbidden, right? So I used to get that issue a lot. And what I found that, the difference when I'm using Ansible scripts to install the Magma package, that time only I am seeing this issue 403 forbidden. But when I'm executing the apt-get command manually, right, on the box where I'm trying to install the Magma, so that time it's getting resolved. I don't know what kind of behavior this is, odd behavior, but this is the difference I found. When you will use the Ansible script, you will definitely get the 403 forbidden, whereas manually, it's passing.
Okay, interesting. I have noticed this in both situations. If I do it manually and if I do it via Ansible. But again, what we have seen is if this happens very regularly on a system with a very low bandwidth. And at least my assumption is the binaries itself or the artifacts itself are located in AWS in an S3 bucket, and JFrog seems to generate tokens to access these artifacts, and these tokens have a very, very small lifetime. So my assumption is the low bandwidth causes that we try to access the artifacts when the time frame is already ended. Yeah, but again, we have to wait for feedback from JFrog.
So can't we, in that scenario, can't we increase the time span of the token itself to a higher number so that it will live for a couple of more seconds to mitigate this issue?
I mean, of course, it should be increased, but we can't do this. This is maintained by JFrog itself, by Linux Foundation and JFrog. So we can only report issues, but we can't solve them ourselves.
Yeah, but we can, suggest them, right? We can suggest them that, okay, this is the issue and this is for this reason, due to the timeout issue, we are facing this issue. Because all the, we can't assume that everyone will have the higher bandwidth, where they're trying to install. So maybe, this kind of suggestion we can put in front of Linux Foundation.
Of course, and this has already happened. They created an issue at JFrog with the, exactly this information.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, I have one last point here. I called it processes. It's just a little advertisement of a proposal that we created. It's about simplification of the code owner groups. So if you are interested, I put the link, hopefully. Yeah, here it is in here, so you can have a detailed look. But as very short summary of the thing we would like to solve here is often pull requests are blocked because reviewers are inactive or not accessible because they are doing something else or on vacation, which is absolutely okay, but nevertheless it blocks pull requests. We expect that this problem will increase in the next couple of months. At least a lot of people who are code owners will leave the project and will become inactive. And one way to mitigate this problem would be to simplify the code owner structure and merge a lot of code owner groups. Is one way, and this is what this proposal is about. We hope if this gets accepted, that it will lead to more people being able to review certain parts of the project, or pull requests for certain parts, and unblock pull requests. What we are suggesting is to have 3 code owner groups. I mean, if you take a look to the current structure, it's located in the code owners file, then you see we have Approver CI, Orchestrator, NMS, FEG, CWF, and so on. And what we propose is to merge this down to 3 groups. One group about the gateways, so AGW, FEG, CWF. One group about cloud, so Orchestrator and NMS. And one last group for infrastructure, combining some stuff like CI, docs, Bazel, and other parts. Yeah, I would really like to hear your opinions about that. Do you see there a problem? If yes, do you think this would be a valid solution? I just want to get feedback for presenting this in the TSC.
Yeah, I think this is nice, and this will make things more simpler because in future, I think less people will be coming up and it's much more easier to understand.
Yeah, I guess this is the simpler one, the minimum number of groups that we will have. So it will allow users to properly review, right? The maximum number, maybe, as you mentioned, right? The reviewers will be away, they are not available, and unnecessary peers will be landing, without any attention. So yeah, it's very nice to keep the minimum number of groups.
Yeah. Yeah, then thanks for the fast feedback. I mean, one downside, of course, is that then, for example, everybody who was, let's say, an AGW code owner is then able to do reviews for CWF. Do you see any problems here regarding expertise, or do you think this is neglectable?
So I think, to my, experience, if, let's say, for an example, I will be added as a reviewer to the gateways, right? Whereas, there is a peer where I don't have any knowledge. So, genuinely, I should not, approve or disapprove or do anything to that if I don't have any knowledge, right? But if that is a showstopper and someone is requesting that, hey, no one is available and, this is okay to approve, then, probably I can help to fix that issue by, approving that, right? Yeah, that is how usually, we do approvals or review process. But until unless I'm not expert on that field, even though I'm added as a reviewer, I should not approve or disapprove or do anything, basically.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I guess I just wanted to ask the question, but I agree. I think reviewers can decide for themselves
Exactly.
if they feel able to review something, and if not, a short message should be sufficient. Yeah. Any more points for this proposal? Then, thanks a lot for the feedback. Then I'm finished and I stop share my screen.
Okay, so we have some time. So any other topic anyone would like to bring up? Okay, if not, then thank you, everyone. Happy New Year. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Hey, happy
Thank
New Year
you.
to
Bye.
everyone.